Good morning. This is my second blog, and I've entitled this one Giving Credit Where It Is Due. You've just completed your first month of classes and you're settling into your schedule. For some, assignments may already be due, or the deadline is looming close for that first major paper. Group work is common in our NEPS program, and with that comes the responsibility of making sure that individuals' contributions are valued, recognized, and communicated appropriately. APA is a resource that all of you understand as an essential component to writing a paper or an assignment. But equally important is giving credit to the work of others. How we do this is usually discussed during orientation, when often we're overloaded with things to think about and remember. So I wanted to dedicate this blog to helping nursing students understand how the university, the College of Nursing, and you as an individual learner collectively have a role to play in maintaining the accuracy of work completed within our nursing programs. It's also important to consider this information as supportive in advancing your progress. This work is referred to as academic honesty, and I know that many of you will have heard of academic dishonesty, but I would prefer to take more of a positive approach to this topic. So let's start with what we see every day. When you're reading a journal article, there are often lists of authors who have made a major contribution to the writing. This intellectual contribution, or the knowledge that's shared, deserves credit for the overall outcomes that's discussed in the article. So a team of writers are most often proud of their combined efforts to produce the end result and share the credit. That's not different when you're working in groups here on campus. The assignment is completed because of the sharing that produces an outcome that's most likely quite different than what any one individual person might produce if they were working alone. The questions then that one might ask are, so how do we recognize each other's work? What if someone does not do as much work as they were assigned to do, or lets the team down? Why should everyone receive the same mark if there's not equal distribution of workload? And what if we have a group of 4 and we decide to write 4 individual papers, not one, yet we'll use our combined contributions in preparing all 4 of those assignments? Can we use the same information in each paper? When reading journal articles, particularly those of you who have taken a research class, there will be a section on background information or literature reviews. Authors will give their interpretation or their analysis of what other experts in the field have written on that particular topic. When you read these sections, there may also be direct quotes that are used to highlight a specific point. These quotation marks are critically important as they indicate that the author has copied word for word what the original writer or the other expert may have stated. Now, what would be interesting for you to do is to study the difference between the sentences within that section, because you'll often note that there is a difference in how the direct quote is written as compared to how the author of the article is writing throughout their paper. If the writer had not identified the direct quote using those quotation marks, then that would be considered plagiarism. They have used someone else's work without giving their credit back to that person. Here at the University of Saskatchewan, there is an onus on every student to become informed as to what does or does not constitute plagiarism. So to say that you didn't know or ignorance of the applicable standards of ethical writing is not an acceptable excuse. So you have to understand what constitutes academic honesty. As you learn to conduct your own critical or interpretive analysis of the literature, issues of truthfulness becomes a guiding principle. This principle, while not hard to understand, can be challenging for students when you actually try to apply it. So then let's look at some of the resources that are available to help you write your next paper. Here at the university level, there are 3 guiding principles that help us to develop a teacher-student learning environment. And those 3 principles are learning and growth, honesty and integrity, and respect of the dignity of others. And I'd like to refer you to a website. It's our university one, but usask.ca, then / type in the word honesty and /. And in that section, you'll see at the bottom a title called Crossing the Line. And the U of S drama students have created a short video that's helpful for others to understand what is or is not academic honesty. So I would encourage you to go and watch that video. If we then look just at the College of Nursing level, here your course professors will discuss with you the guidelines for academic honesty, and they'll provide further clarification on what's expected of you in an individual paper and what would be expected if they were providing a group assignment. For NEPS students, I would refer you to Section 6 of your 2007-8 handbook, which discusses academic regulations. When you read that, if there's any misunderstanding or any lack of clarity with these guidelines, then it is imperative that you ask your course professor for help in understanding what's expected. Please do not try to wing it, because the results might not be worth the risk that you've decided to take. Our course professors do have a responsibility to teach students about honesty and integrity of scholarship. If you choose not to follow that, or if you don't clarify what the course professor may mean, then depending on the circumstance, that professor will make a determination on how to proceed on either an informal or formal process if academic honesty is not apparent. For you as an individual or at the student level, you do have, that has just been released, the University Student Union's Declaration of Student Rights document. And I would refer you to Article 28, which speaks to, and I quote, "the respect for the rights and freedom of others and of the meeting the just requirements of morality, public order, and general welfare of a democratic society." So overwhelmingly, the message is that we cannot take someone else's work and pass it off as our own. We must give credit where credit is due. So remember, if you write something that is copied from any other source without providing the appropriate credit to the original author, then that's cheating. The penalty for cheating can range from receiving a 0 on a particular essay. It may mean that you would have from 5 to 15% mark reduction in the final course mark. Or in the case of a final exam, if you were found to be cheating, then that could result in a course mark of 0, which would go on your transcript as your official mark. So the stakes are high if you don't understand or if you've not sought help. So I'll repeat, do not wing it, seek clarification. So let's recap the situations that you might find yourself in where integrity has the potential to be compromised. One could be group work. How do papers get written either as a group paper or as separate papers using the group's collective knowledge? You must ask your course professor, you must have that information before you proceed, or if you make a decision as a group to do something different than is asked for in the course assignment. For all of you who've participated in groups, you know that they're not necessarily easy, and you know that we have to learn how to work together and how to recognize each other's work. So it becomes important then for you to set up some ground rules. You also have to think about credit for contribution, or when you move into more scholarly work, of really looking at how one assigns authorship. So again, when you're working in a group or a team, decide before you write the paper how you want the names to appear in that paper. Be clear on your ground rules for how people's work gets recognized so that there are no surprises or unhappy people at the end of the course assignment. And it may be things like you decide that you will use alphabetical order, you may put the names in a hat, you may choose anything that you can think of that would be fair and equitable, but you must have the group's agreement on how that is going to be assigned, and I would suggest that you do it before the paper is written. When you're reviewing the literature, talk with your course professor about how to acknowledge other writers if you're using their work. You cannot paraphrase or use direct quotes without giving credit to those individuals. So APA is clear on how to use direct quotes and how to recognize those in your writing. I want to share with you how extremely upsetting it is for students when there is a question of academic honesty. Emotions run high as one's personal integrity is being questioned. There are many supports to aid you as students at the University of Saskatchewan. So please, if there is any uncertainty or if you have a question, go to your course professor or check out the university website. As faculty, we would welcome the opportunity to invest our time in helping you understand and feel comfortable writing assignments so that there is no misunderstanding in giving credit where credit is due.